Welcome to Psychic Holistic Spotlight. Today I am your host, Josie Way, and our guest that I'm pleased to introduce is Lisa Ashton. She is a psychic medium, a Reiki healer, and she has a healing center called Northern Lights. And there's so much to ask that I'm just going to jump right in and say, how did you get started, Lisa?
Great. Well, I'm a third generation psychic medium, so my mom has the gift and her mom and both of my children.
And it was welcome.
It was, I have to say my mom kind of stuffed it and didn't really utilize it that much, but she didn't stop me from using my gifts, which was nice. So from an early age, I was picking up energies and so forth from people around them, seeing auras and so forth. And then I really kind of stopped it during high school.
It's a bad time.
I didn't want to be different.
Yeah.
You know, so I stopped doing it during high school, and then I picked it up again in college. And it's when I went through, I've been a psych nurse for about 35 years, and I always joke and say that, you know, during the week I would teach people or tell people how not to listen to their voices, and then on the weekend I would do readings and listen to voices. So a little ironic there, but it's fun. I love doing what I do.
And in some ways, I'm going on a tangent. Working as a psych nurse, sometimes you could read the energies of your patient.
Absolutely.
And that helps them a little better. You would notice if they were upset or anxious, or, you know, you would feel the energy.
Absolutely, and it really made me distinguish or be able to tell that I was a medical empath, because I could pick up the issues, the problems, by looking at someone, by touching someone on the back, be able to use my Reiki to help calm them down. So it really did help in the field, and now I find when I'm doing readings, it really helps that I was a psych nurse, because now, when I do readings, I can actually do kind of life coaching along with it. I'm doing a little bit, you're always doing a little bit of counseling when you're doing readings.
Yeah, I consider myself a guide.
Oh, sure.
You know,
that's lovely.
You know, that spirit is using me as a guide for people. You know, not so much a coach, just a guide.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's a nice way to put it.
And so, starting there, when did you start to do readings, or were you doing them already in high school?
I was doing them really starting in college, I would have to say. I would do readings, and I could pick up a lot of things when I was little, and and my mom would, I'd realize if we weren't supposed to go somewhere, or I would get feelings, or feel different energy and so forth.
Right.
But the actual reading part, I would have to say, I started with angel cards and so forth when I was in college, and calling because I could hear my own guardian angels, and then I could pick up other people's angels. So that's really how my reading started. And then I could hear. I mostly hear as a medium.
Yeah.
And hear, and I do see in my mind's eye, but I have chosen not to see physical forms, so I put that intention so that I don't physically see dead people. So I put that as my intention. So I hear and I know and I understand and I smell. I have certain smells that wave through when I'm doing a reading. And then I combine it with psychic readings of what's happening in their life now, what decisions do they have to make, things like that.
Yeah, it sounds wonderful. And with your Reiki healing, I know you said something about you like to use stones.
I do a lot of crystal work while I'm doing my Reiki healing. Depending on what I pick up empathically, like I talked about when I do my first once over in Reiki, and say if they have a sore hip or something bone wise, then I might use labradorite because it's very good for strengthening bones. Or if they're one of their chakras is out of balance, say their sacral chakra, I might pick up some carnelian and really work on that area, or their heart chakra, some aventurine, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's very effective. I think people feel the crystals and feel the energy that they're receiving from the crystals.
Is there any one or two crystals that you find you're using the most of on people?
That's a good question. I use labradorite a lot. I'm kind of a labradorite geek. That's what I call myself. I really like the stone. I get a lot from the stone when I'm using it as well. A lot of healing, so I tend to use a lot of labradorite. I use a lot of lapis lazuli because the communication and the throat chakra. So many people, when I'm doing their chakras and clearing them with Reiki, I find that their chakra is blocked, the throat chakra. So I use a lot of lapis. And then the chakra, the different chakras for the, the different crystals for the chakras themselves. The root chakra, using bloodstone and like I said, the solar, the sacral plexus for the carnelian. So I really kind of just follow whatever I hear from my angels, from my guides.
Okay, so there's no one stone.
There's no one stone.
There's no one ailment that people come to see you about?
No, not at all.
I was thinking stress.
Well, that's definitely a big one. I think there's, we have good stress and we have bad stress, and I think people feel a lot of stress or anxiety. And I have a grid that I always set up under my Reiki table, and the healing grid, many times the center stone, the centerpiece is smoky quartz, which is really good for anxiety and relieving stress. So that's always a really good starting place for everyone to get them to calm down.
Have you made the grid yourself, or you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I put together the grid depending on the person that's coming in and the energy that I feel from them. The stones talk to me, basically.
We had someone that came in from Europe that made such a sophisticated grid that when doctors were not able to figure out what something was, she did readings with a pendulum.
Absolutely.
And they were very accurate.
I can quite often pick up on things that are wrong with people. I happened to be looking at something today, and one of the daytime stars went in and they found that he had kidney cancer, and he's home. He's young, he's like 49, and he's home, and he was thanking everyone. And I'm looking at this picture on Instagram, and I can tell instantly that there's, they found something probably with his liver as well as his kidneys, and he's just not talking about it, So just by sometimes looking at people or feeling their energy,
do you
I
see
can pick up.
an aura or a sensation? Do you have a sensation?
It's more of a sensation. I do see people's auras, but that doesn't really tell me about their health so much. It mostly tells me about their energy, the energy that's around them.
It's more psych and emotional.
Yeah, exactly. So it's more of a feeling that I get when I'm doing the Reiki or when I'm doing a psychic reading that I'll pick up. But I don't tell people ever that, I only work in the white light, so I'm never telling people that they're ill or that someone's in their family is ill or sick, or that's not something that I do. That's not my place.
I was trained to tell people to watch out for certain things, to be cautious.
That's a good way to put it.
And don't say any more. Although once or twice, I've had to say, I said to one person, now you already know the answer to that. Someone was, near death. You know the answer to that.
Yeah.
I don't have to tell you. It's just a matter of time.
Right, and that really bodes well with what I believe is that everybody has psychic abilities. Everybody has the ability to tap into their own energy and tap into everyone else's. How many times do you walk in a room and you just have a feeling the first time you meet somebody, or you see someone across the room that you just think, oh, you know what, I shouldn't talk to them today.
I get a gut thing.
That's exactly it.
And when I'm doing readings, I get a gut thing if I'm misunderstanding the information I'm getting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
I get the thing basically tells me the person doesn't understand what you're saying. Find another way to say it.
Oh, that makes sense.
Reframe it.
Yeah, that gut feeling, I think, is something that, and quite often when I'm doing readings, I'll tell people, or I'll teach them how to use that and follow that gut feeling, because everyone has it.
Yeah.
Everyone has the ability, as you noted, to touch base and learn who their angels are, and to ask them for guidance and for help, and to follow that gut feeling.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are afraid to do it.
It is just a matter of practicing and training with other people that are comfortable with it and can guide them to, oh, that's not a bad thing. That just means well, this is something we have to talk about. Growing edges and opportunities to grow always look so miserable when we're facing them.
True.
And yet they're gifts.
Absolutely.
They're blessings in disguise.
Right.
Most of the time we don't want them.
That's right. That's what I always say, about failure. Sometimes there's never such a thing as a failure. It's more of another opportunity to go down a different path and try a different way of working something out.
Yeah. And it's just like people in relationships. You will find that their next relationship, when a relationship fades away, another relationship comes along. It may echo the last one, or it may be a variation of the last one, or it might be something brand new that you've never dealt with.
Exactly, and that so often is if people leave one relationship and they had lessons to learn, and instead of going through the middle of it and learning the lessons, as painful as they might be, they scoot around it and think that I got out of that one, so they're going to face it again because that challenge is still there. That's a life lesson that they have to conquer.
For me, things got with lessons. They changed in intensity. They became harder lessons that I needed to deal with, and then they became very subtle lessons. The subtle lessons were really hard.
Wow. The subtle lessons, I find I get a lot of, when I get signs, it's figuring out what the signs are that I'm getting. And everybody gets signs. Many times people say, I don't ever see signs. Everyone always talks about getting signs, but I think it's just that they're not aware that it's a sign. A sign doesn't necessarily, from a loved one, doesn't have to be something you recognize specifically for that loved one. It could just be something out of the ordinary that catches your eye, like a flock of birds that, make you look up in the sky, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's not necessarily that they loved cardinals, but they could be sending cardinals just as a sign that they're okay.
Yes, cardinals are a good message that someone is okay in spirit, that they're doing well.
Absolutely.
I know that's one of them. This is another thing. When you become a medium, and you start to notice signs, it's good to start doing a little bit of reading on shamanism and the animal totems, because each one of them carries a certain energy that can tell you, I need to focus more on seeing the positives and the negatives. For a dragonfly, the miracle of light, the power of light, to see, the miracles.
It's very true. And I work with animal totems, and I actually read animals through mediumship as well, but I don't often get signs, or I hadn't really noticed a lot of signs. And recently, in the past month, I have had 5 different times, on 5 different occasions, I've had crickets come to me. And I had a cricket actually jump on me in bed. I had a cricket that was sitting. I opened my mailbox, and it actually literally jumped out of the mailbox into my car window. And I'm not a bug
trying to
lover.
get your attention.
I know. And then I had another one on my nightstand, and then my son found one on a plate that was sitting in the kitchen. And so that crickets, I guess, are good abundance and prosperity, and
they're good luck.
Yeah, so
and,
I welcome them.
It's time to get out the I'm losing the name of animal speak. Get that.
Great, yeah,
I
absolutely.
keep that. It's not a book I circulate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's another one that follows it, Animal Wise.
Oh, really?
Ted Andrews, he's passed on, but he was a wonderful writer, and the books on animal totems, Animal Speak and Animal Wise, are wonderful.
That's great.
While I'm advertising, can I advertise for you?
Sure.
We're going to talk about it later, but you are you do your readings at Northern Lights.
I do. I own Northern Lights Holistic. I opened it with a business partner about 3 years ago, and then this past December I purchased it. I bought her out, and so it's strictly my business at this point. And I have 14 different practitioners that work as a part of our light worker group or our community. They each run their own business kind of under the umbrella of Northern Lights Holistic.
Now, for anyone interested in possibly going there and working there, how does it work? You pay for the month, and how many, is it, you have a set schedule?
It's a small amount that you would pay at the beginning of every month, and then the people that come and see you, you keep 100% of anything that you make. So there are a lot of other places that do it differently, where they don't charge a fee and then they take 30 or 40% of each of your visits. So it's just another way to manage it. When we first started it, we wanted it to be so that people could afford to leave their other job and do this full time, all the people that were gifted. So we wanted them to be able to put that money in their pocket 100%. So they pay a small fee at the beginning of the month, and they get 10 hours or 2 days per week, 2 5-hour shifts per week, or 40 hours a month, where they have a room that's set up with a Reiki table and a card table and so forth. And there were other practitioners that come in.
They just have to bring in their own cards and...
Exactly. And there are always 4 or 5
environment.
Practitioners on at the same time.
Yeah.
So
what is the range of practitioners? What do some of them do?
Oh, let's see. We have reflexology. We have massage therapists. We have Reiki. We have integrated energy therapy, which is IET. We have tarot readers.
That's working with angels.
It is working with angels, especially Saint Germain and purple healing.
And Ariel.
Ariel, Uriel. We also do, we have tarot readers, and we have mediums, of course. We talked about that, where mediums actually bring through loved ones or messages from your loved ones, both in terms of evidential mediumship, sitting in a reading. We also do table tipping, which is physical mediumship. So there's a little difference between the two, but the messages come through for your loved ones. We have angel card readers. We have life coaches. We have shamans. We have channelers. We have past life regression. We have hypnotherapy. We have meditative groups for children. And we offer a lot of classes as well in the evening, which is fun. I love it.
Now, each one is, I'm trying to picture it, is a small room? Or is it a partition type thing?
Nope, we have a whole center, and it's divided up. The center has 5 treatment rooms and then a main area out front that's about as big as this room. And the main area out front is where people would wait, and as they come in, they would choose whoever happens to be on. We would tell them who's on and if they'd like a reading or a healing, etc. And then there are 5, each practitioner has their own room. Out of those 10 hours that they're working. So at any given time, there'll be 5 people on. Say like a tarot reader and a massage therapist, a Reiki master, a reflexologist, and somebody who does meditation.
And what are your hours?
We're closed on Mondays, and we're open Tuesdays through Sunday, 10 a.m. Till 3 p.m. However, we do, myself personally, I do telephone readings for people around the country, around the world. I have someone as far as Transylvania who actually does readings with me in Ireland and Sri Lanka, and they're just as effective because it's the energy you're connecting with.
I've done it myself, and at first I was a little dubious, but it works just fine.
It does. Because you're connecting with a person's energy, so it doesn't matter if it's the energy of them sitting in front of you or the energy through the telephone, it's still the same energy.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Back to, now Reiki, when did you start with Reiki?
Reiki was really the first, I would say, metaphysical discipline that I picked up, that I was trained in, which would have been about 30 years ago. And I started slow with that, and then gradually added, as I was hearing more and seeing more and feeling more, I started to get training in different areas. I worked with some very well-known mediums. I did like an internship for a year, mentoring with some mediums to fine-tune my discipline and fine-tune some of the boundaries I wanted to set around myself. Such as one being that I don't want to see dead people, as we talked about, and another, my glasses, which do not have any glass in them actually, or do not have lenses. They're on, when I have them on, that tells spirit that I can work, and when I take them off, I'm done for the day. So it's kind of a boundary that I put in place and put the intention out there to the universe that I'm closed at night. You know, I don't want people coming to me all night long. Like I hear so often from people that they can't shut it off.
I don't shut it off, but they respect me.
Nice.
If it pops
So
up,
you set that intention.
if it pops up at an unusual time, then I know it's something important.
Very true.
You know, that okay, it's a little inconvenient, but rub the sleep from your eyes.
It's true. And sometimes, like when I'm meditating in the morning, I'll get messages about specific clients that I've done readings for, that clients that come quite often, and they'll be like, oh, you should check on so-and-so and make sure everything's okay. And I'll text them and say, everything going okay? I got a message that I needed to reach out to you, and oh my gosh, I was just going to call you and set up a reading. So there's a lot of that back and forth communication, and I think you probably get the same thing from the angels.
Yes, yeah, the angels pretty much, they don't need permission to come through. You know, if they come through, I'm listening.
Absolutely.
Because I've had events, if they can't get through during the daytime with me, they do it at night while I'm sleeping.
Interesting.
They come, I get dreams, and I can't ignore them. You know, usually they're very important. You know, and
with messages for other people?
with messages about other people.
Okay, so kind of premonitions.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
This is humorous because it turned out to be okay. I had one dream that, this is a long time ago, that my daughters were staying at their father's and that they were in deep water. And it wouldn't stop. So I called them up. I said, is everything going okay with you? Well, yeah, sort of. I said, I blurted out, I had a dream that you guys were in deep water, and I didn't know if it was psychological problems. She says, oh no, the pipe burst in the basement.
Oh my gosh, wow. That was really
at their father's house, and they were mopping water.
Oh, that's
all
crazy.
day.
That's crazy.
I thought it was a traumatic, you know, event.
Yeah.
But they were busy mopping the floors. Yeah. Also, spirit has a sense of humor.
Absolutely.
You know, and they help me laugh at myself when I take myself too seriously.
It's so true. And even when I do mediumship and I'm bringing through loved ones, many times the messages that I'm giving, sometimes my angels will say to me, are you hearing what you're saying? Pay attention, because the message is also for me.
Yeah.
You know, so.
That's the truth about a lot of messages.
Yeah.
The people that are attracted to us
That's right. Are
as
meant to be.
healers and mediums have certain wavelengths that are similar. That's why we can understand what they're going through.
Absolutely. I'll have whole series, like whole weeks, where I have just nurses that are coming in to see me, that have made appointments, and then I'll have whole weeks of people who have lost a loved one, and it's all mediumship, and then a whole week, or 3 or 4 days where it's a lot of Reiki treatment. So they tend to come in cycles, and a lot of times they're things that I need to pay attention to as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm being asked to say this by the angels. I am grateful that you have a place where people can go to heal others and guide others.
Oh, that's nice.
The angels are happy about that.
I enjoy it. It's I feel like it's what I'm supposed to be doing, and I love what I do because it brings comfort.
Yeah, it's like this show for me, you know?
Absolutely.
I know there's one person out there watching.
And you're making a big difference in their life. Absolutely.
No, but I know that people recognize me periodically, so I know that there are people who watch the show.
Absolutely, and you make a difference. Now, do you also notice, like I notice when I work with angels, that it's not just I have specific signs from my own angels, but many times my signs are not the signs I'm getting from their angels. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I also
Right.
work with other people's angels.
Yes.
And they'll give me messages for whoever I'm speaking with.
The more you've studied, the more avenues from shamanism to color therapy to, I can't think, astrology. And the more you've studied, the more ways they can give you signs
That's so
and
true.
messages.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
And you can help someone else
Yeah.
that by having that information.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, the one thing I didn't ask is, where is your practice?
We're located in Portsmouth, Rhode Island. It's 204 Clock Tower Square. And people can actually go to our website, which is www.northernlights.one. That's our website, and you can see all our practitioners and actually book for readings and healings right online, or they can call us as well to set up appointments, which is that, can I give that number? Or?
Yes.
Okay, it's 401-293-5655.
Okay.
And we can connect them with any discipline they're looking for.
We're just about at the end of our time.
Okay.
So I want to say, is there any one message that you would like to give anyone who perhaps is starting out on this path?
To trust yourself and not second guess yourself, because I think we all do it. I know I still do it. I have a quick story about that. I had like a 22-year-old girl sitting in front of me. It was a mediumship reading for her girlfriend who had passed tragically about 3 months before. And I kept hearing from the angels in my head, talk about the mechanical bull. And I said, she's 22. She's not going to even know what a mechanical bull is. So I kept pushing it down and not trusting my gut and not listening to the angels. And they just kept saying it over. So finally I said, you may not know what this means, but I keep being told to ask you about the mechanical bull. And she started crying, and she and her girlfriend the night before she passed had gone to a country western bar and ridden on a mechanical bull. But I wasn't trusting myself.
No.
And so that would be my biggest message,
Yeah.
I think, is to trust your gut feeling. We all have
Yes.
it, and it's so strong.
Yeah, and some messages can seem strange.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
like talking to a guy and getting a thing about a pink bathrobe.
Yep,
And it could be dressed up for Halloween in a pink bathrobe.
Absolutely. Yeah, I heard the word scooter the other day, and I said it to somebody, and I said, did somebody just buy a scooter? And he started laughing, and he goes, oh my gosh, we just got a new puppy, and we named him Scooter. But I thought it was like an actual scooter. So you never know what you're going to get, you know. But it's fun, and I love it. So I'm grateful.
Well, thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
And
thank you for having me.
Please join us whenever you can, Tuesday nights at 8:30. And please give us suggestions if there are any shows or people you want to see. The phone number for that may have flashed on the screen, but I'll give it to you again. 401-575-6450.
Great, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. So it was lovely having you here.
Thank you.